We are live.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Police Off the Cuff. After Hours, my name is Mark DeMeo. I'm your host. And my co-host is with me again tonight. My partner in all things law enforcement, the very handsome Bill Cannon. What's up, buddy?
Looking forward to this show. We reached across the nation all the way to the West Coast to come up with Barbi Doll, and you can introduce her.
Well, Barbi Doll is our guest tonight, and she's a very popular medium. She's a psychic medium, the first psychic medium that we've had on the show. She's made appearances on Netflix, documentary Surviving Death. She also teaches classes on how to, I guess, become a medium or pick up your medium senses. And we're very excited to have her tonight. What's up, Barbi? How are you?
Hi, good. Thank you for having me on. I want to clarify. So I went to the school, the institute that it was on Netflix. Myself, I wasn't on Netflix, but my teacher was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got a little confused with that too when I.
One day maybe, right?
Yeah. when I made up this, there's too much copy in this. I should have limited it, but there was a lot of information I had to put in there to introduce who you actually were.
So, like Bill, we made the mistake again of starting to talk before we actually went on. I don't want to forget this, but Barbi Doll, it's a great name, but is that your real name? I mean, that's your birth name, or how did you come up with that?
So my real name is Barbi, and I am actually married to a Ken, so that's always fun and entertaining.
Wow, really?
But I did switch my last name, huh?
How long did you have to search? How high did you have to search to find your Ken?
You know what? A long time. We've been together for almost 11 years now, and before then it was a bunch of Joes, not Kens.
I know an Eve, and she's always looking for her Adam.
Oh yeah.
I definitely get it.
Yeah, but Mark, we said before, and even in the chat, we were talking to Barbi before the show. We thought that her name was more befitting a porn star than a medium. Correct?
Well, there is one, and I thought that was our guest, and I was like, wow, she's also a psychic. That's cool.
Well, the other one might be psychic as well, and you get a 2-for-1.
Uh-huh. So let's start with this medium business. How did you get involved in it? How did you start with? Did you have a calling? Did you have a feeling like you had a special intuition?
Yeah, I was always just kind of different as a kid. I saw things that I probably, just knew things I shouldn't really know. Saw things and stuff like that. And then I went into the corporate world, worked there for 20 years, and it just never fit me right. And then I just decided to own who I was. It's hard to be in this business because a lot of people criticize you and stuff like that. So it was one thing that I was really trying to hide for a long time. And then once I decided to do it and own it, it just came very, very natural for me.
So give us an example of when you get a premonition or that you can feel things about other people. Give us an example of that.
So, and this is my belief. My belief is everybody has this ability, but we basically turn it off, right? Because we're taught to live into this world and to fit into this world. So yeah, I can see somebody, and oftentimes I'll get what I would call like a video or a movie in my mind of something that's for them. So sometimes it could be like a passed over loved one, and I'll get like a picture of my mind of their passed over loved one who wants to come and talk to them. Sometimes, like for example, I had somebody that I was doing a live podcast with, and I saw somebody being shot in the face, and it was a male, and they told me it was connected to her daughter, and that hadn't happened. And then 3 days later, her daughter's boyfriend was shot in the face and died. So I didn't know what that premonition meant. I just knew I had to give her the message. And the message was because she was supposed to keep her daughter basically inside so that nothing happened to her, because her daughter was supposed to be at the place that the boyfriend was at the same time. And thanks to our call, she was a little bit more careful about where her daughter went. And luckily her daughter wasn't there at that time. Otherwise they said she would have been shot. So you get things like that. Everybody gets a gut instinct. I mean, if you're a police officer, you have to use your gut instincts to make decisions, things like that. So it's gut instincts, it's feelings. If you walk into a room and you feel a room and it feels very dense, you just trust. The difference is I trust the information I get versus I think a lot of people get the information, but they just don't know how to trust it.
So you act upon the information that you feel based on your intuition.
Yeah, exactly. And then the more you trust it and the more you use it, it's like any other muscle. You build it and it works better, right? So if I go to the gym, I start lifting weights. I'm going to start off small and then I build it. And the more I use it, the better I get at it and the more I understand.
You know, when I was I don't know if you know what anti-crime is, but I worked in anti-crime in this precinct, and I was working one night, and the sergeant I was working with said to me, "What are you feeling?" I said, "I think something's going to happen on 79th Street in West End." I said, "Let's go over there." We went over there, and we was stopped at the corner of West End Avenue and 79th Street, and I see a guy come up behind a woman with a 12-inch knife, and he puts it to her back, and he yokes her and rips her to the ground and takes her, at the time, $5,000 fur coat. This was like 1986, 87. So that was a lot of money for a fur coat. Anyway, we got the guy, we locked him up, and it was just, I had that feeling that something was going to happen on that street, and it did.
Yeah,
so
and
I guess that's
super detailed. And that's super detailed. Think about, you got like the streets, that's super, super detailed. So it means that you, just like everybody else, if we would just trust and listen to things, that we could avoid a lot of pain and suffering in our life.
When I worked in the warrant squad, we went to an apartment and the person wasn't there. We would have to go in there and search every room. So I'd go in the bedroom and I'd look out the window. And my partner would, the guys I was with, they'll be like, "What are you looking at?" And I said, "I want to see the world the way he sees it."
that has nothing to do with this.
That's how I'm going to find him. So,
well, let me ask you guys. Oh, sorry. Let me ask you this. I'm sure, like, working, right, if you're working in with like with victims of things and stuff like that, how many times did you have like somebody who came in and said, like, I could feel somebody behind me, but I just didn't trust that, and then that's how I got attacked? Right? People,
yeah, and my response to that is, well, you should trust your instincts 100%.
Exactly.
Instincts do not lie,
Exactly.
Trust them 100%. And if you're wrong, you can apologize and dust the other person off that you just knocked out. But, trust your instincts,
Right.
Feels knocking people out.
For me, like,
what you're talking about is energy right now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
As I grow older, I really pay attention to energy more than I'm just discovering it right now. And if there's a person that I have just a bad energy with constantly, if I see them, I look to avoid them. And most of the time that's a natural instinct, unless you're somebody like me that has the need for people to like them. So I'm always going to go and try to win this person over. So I've changed in that way. Like, I see somebody I don't get along with, I duck in the door, wait for them to pass now. I don't want that energy. But when it comes to crime, what you're talking about is the little hairs that stand up on the back of your neck and tell you this isn't a good situation. And I think people, they don't want to be the person to judge somebody by their physical appearance, or even give the idea that they might be doing that. So they're scared to go by what their body's telling them.
Exactly. And instincts to me is just a different word for intuition, right? It's just a different way of saying it that's more acceptable to most people. Say, trust your instincts. It's the same thing as saying, trust your intuition.
Barbi, I just want to read something to you from someone who's in the chat. Ania Benania Strell. I seen my boyfriend, longtime ex, unborn niece die, and I seen the mom in a tub of bloody water. I seen the time and dates. The phone rang before they rang, the date and time of the death of his niece. And then she wrote, I warned him and told him to call his brother. Overall, the prediction came true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the sad thing is because people don't, because maybe she warned and trust, but people in general just don't trust when we get these intuitive hits, right? So she trusted herself. She warned them. But honestly, the truth of the matter is the fate is up to the person anyways. So if they didn't listen, they didn't trust their instinct, then that was going to be the way that it ended anyways. That's just the way it was meant to be.
The great Lieutenant Peter Pranzo of the Harlem Raiders fame says he always felt chills before shootings occurred. And he worked in the 3-2, and it was like downtown Vietnam back then.
He was cold most days. He was very cold. Even in the summer, he was cold. Especially in the summer, he was cold.
I think police officers probably use their intuition more than most careers, to be honest with you guys. You guys have to be able to feel into a situation, especially detectives. Detectives look for things and they find things that really aren't meant to be found because they're trusting their instincts. They're using their intuition.
Well, it seems like they're trying to guide you more and more away from things like that.
Who's trying to guide you more and more away?
Just, the modern day society. Don't trust your feelings. Like, for example, what I just mentioned about you have somebody coming towards you. It just doesn't feel right. I'm not a racist, but the energy's off right here. Do I take advantage of what my body's telling me and dip off into a store or walk a little slower, move a little faster? Or do I just stand there like a moron and wait to get punched in my face?
Right.
So that's what we're fighting against. So whether it's the fear that locks you down or the fear of just not knowing what to do, or the fear of, God forbid, I make this person feel bad because I'm going by my instinct right now. Or the other word you said.
And that's kind of the point of like why I teach classes, because I'm not trying to teach people to be mediums for a living, right? Like that's not what most people are going to end up being. The idea is I teach classes so people can learn to trust themselves. So when they are in situations like that, maybe you look like a jerk because you walked across the street and, maybe that person could feel bad about it, whatever the case may be, but at least you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. You do a lot of, I guess, dealing with death and people who have lost loved ones, and they come to you and they ask you to communicate with them.
Yep.
Is there any fear that you might, because my girlfriend mentioned this, that she's scared to go to, she does other readings, but she doesn't do that because she thinks she might be disturbing the dead.
No, absolutely not. They want to talk to us because they're just they're the same as we are without a physical body, right? And almost always they have some sort of a message to give to the person that gives that person some sort of healing. Like, for example, if, grandma died and you didn't make it to the hospital in time to say goodbye, because you didn't leave when you were supposed to, and you're carrying around that guilt for all these years because you didn't say goodbye, she's most likely going to tell me to make sure that you understand that it was okay that you didn't make it. And that guilt that you've been carrying around and eating at you for years will be relieved. So we're not disturbing the dead. They're energy, just like we are. So they talk to us just like I'm talking to you. The difference is you can't see the physical body. That's all.
Barbi, I'm going to read from your bio. In your role as an intuitive medium, your sole purpose is to bridge the gap between the living and the deceased, to bring comfort, closure, and hope to those who seek it.
Exactly.
So just about what you were talking about is that people may not have felt closure because maybe someone died and they didn't say, I love you, or they didn't say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean this or that. And is that what you're trying to provide for them?
Yeah. And the thing is like, so what they did give me when I'm talking with somebody who's deceased on the other side is they'll give me very distinct information that I can't just be making it up. Right. So they'll say things to me that like mean something to you. It means nothing to me. And that way, that it's truly the person that I'm talking to. Oftentimes we'll have parents who, as human beings and people, were horrible parents, right? Maybe they were abusive, neglectful, whatever the case may be. And these people have been carrying this around with them their whole life. My dad didn't love me, yada, yada, yada. On the other side, they're 100% pure love. So then they can give you a message that lets you know, this is where I was coming from. And I want you to know, I do love you. This is why I was that way. And they explain things a little bit better so that people can move on with their lives.
You ever have somebody ask you to reach out to somebody who's deceased to find out like where the money's hidden or buried, or like
she's not going to tell you because she would have ran and got it herself.
we're cops, right? So maybe some of us we came from a family of cops, and Daddy worked during the 70s. There's a bunch of what are those mason jars in the backyard somewhere full of cash, and it's like, yo, Daddy, just tell me where you put the freaking money.
No, they don't. They do ask that stuff, but what a lot of the stuff is going to be like, for example, they'll have disputes between siblings, and so they'll actually come and like mitigate the dispute between the siblings with the parents about what to do about what. So it's very interesting. Like I've had people where there's like 3 or 4 siblings on the phone, and we're literally talking to the parent to help them solve their problem. By the end of the phone call, it always works out that they've got their answers and they're now back to normal.
That's pretty
Barbi, someone wants to volunteer from our live chat. Would you like to meet someone from our live chat and you can talk to them and maybe, I don't know, what is exactly what you do? This is Princess Mitch. She volunteered to, she said, I'd love to talk to her. So there she is on the screen. Is there something like you could give her I don't know how you do it, tell us something that's happening in her life, something good, something.
What do you feel?
Well, so one, I can't really see her. Let me see if I can make her picture bigger. But normally what I would say with
Can you see her better now?
a little bit. Oh, she's cute. I like her.
I
She's
made
sweet.
the screen bigger, yeah.
So for Princess Mitch, I would imagine that's probably Michelle. I would say just message us a question that you have, and then I'll see what I pick up intuitively. That would be easier for me, although she has a male who's coming through who does want to talk to her.
You're feeling something already.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I don't know if she wants to ask a particular question, but I can tell you that there is a male coming through who wants to talk to the person in that picture. So whoever that lady is in that Princess Mitch is connected to somebody. This person has an act like what I would call more like your guys' type of accent because of the way that they're speaking to me.
Our guys' type of an accent.
Your guys as well. I'm a California girl. I don't, you know. So just, she wanted
Police ghost girls are hip. I really dig those styles they wear.
I think she's trying to say we sound stupid, though.
Yeah, so she said yes. Her name's Michelle. Her birth father. Yeah. So this, and I would say so I don't know what her question is because I haven't seen her question yet, but she did say her birth father. I would say that you have his nose. So from what he's showing me on what he looks like, just to understand, you have his nose. Very specifically, his nose is what he's trying to tell me. Does she want to message something? Like, I'm not sure what she wants
I asked her. She hasn't asked a question. There's someone else someone named Lena Dickus. Can you connect?
So we don't want to go back and we don't want to go back and forth because then you're mixing energies, and then I'm getting one thing from another and one thing from another.
Okay.
So she wants to know, did he look for her?
My birth father, she asked.
Yeah. Yes, he did, except for there was an interference, what I would say, between him and your mother. So what it feels like is that he made the effort, but was what I would call like roadblocked by her. She did not want him, even if she portrayed she wanted him involved, she actually did not want him involved, to answer your question. So it feels like earlier on in life, the answer is yes. And then also later on, a little bit later on in life, he also did try to reach out. I would say in your 20s. I'm not sure how old he was when you passed, but it feels like in your 20s is when he was looking for you and did not make that connection. So just earlier in your life, did make the connection to try to find you. And then later in your life, did not make the connection, was not able to locate you. So that is for Princess Mitch.
Hey, Bill, Marla from the Bulldog and the Rude Awakening show is on, so I just wanted to say hi to her. Hi, Marla.
Go ahead. Say hello to her.
She was the one who had us on the show from Maryland.
Oh, yes, that's right. Marla, how are you?
Hi, Marla.
We got 10,000 more fans from your show. I wish that was true, but I'm sure it helped. Thank you for having us on the show.
That's an interesting thing that, I hate, I always think because I'm a comedian, I always think funny. And I don't want to let your husband into it, but you ever have a past boyfriend walk in and they're like, wait a minute, you just cheated on me.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
What he feels like,
your friend comes in and you tell her, listen, I think you better watch your husband. And then she tells you, are you getting any psychic feelings? Like, no, I just saw him outside. He's with another girl kissing her.
Yeah.
No, seriously, do you ever have those type of intuitions that it's not, you don't want to tell your friend it might not be good?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I have to, because I'm a normal human being too, right? So I have neighbors who don't have any idea what I do for a living, and I'll see stuff for them. And unless I absolutely have to give them the message, I basically have to turn it off. Sometimes if it's like a warning or something that I have to tell them, then I'll say it in a way that doesn't sound like I'm this intuitive psychic medium person, so I don't sound weird, because I don't want my kids growing up in a neighborhood where people make fun of them because their mom's a psychic medium.
Have you ever had to give information to the police yet?
So I've done some forensic work with a couple friends of mine, where one of my friends was the main person who was doing the work, and then she would put a bunch of us together in a room and we would work on files. Yeah, and that was very interesting, and we got some very good details out of that.
But so far, somebody that you've been into, helping them with, they hired you as a medium and you're helping them, and all of a sudden you see something that might be something related to a past. Maybe they had a horrible incident in their life, and you see the person that did it now.
Mhm.
You know, have you,
I haven't
nothing
had any,
like that?
nothing like that. For example, like that would be, as far as like, I don't know, what would that be, like a hit and run or somebody who shot somebody or something. I can give details. So like I could see an image of somebody. If somebody said like, somebody did something to me, can you give me some details? I can ask for details of that person and give them like they look like this is their skin color, this is their height, this is this. But oftentimes I can't, people don't come to me to ask me those questions. Most people come to me for more intuitive or mediumship work.
Because that's
You know,
that's where your TV show is, just so you know.
Barbie, in the history of thank you, Duty on, for that $10 super chat. In the history of homicide investigation, most, probably all, serious homicide investigators recommend they never use a medium.
I've heard that, and I find
Yeah.
that very interesting, and I'll tell you why. Because what I think is this, is that any information, as long as it's something like, okay, let me give you, for example, this is what we have to do when we do the work. When they give us a file, they will know enough information about the file that if we pick up that information, then they can trust the other information. So they don't tell us anything, right? But let's say, for example, we did like a missing girl, and she was missing in like Northern California woods area. We actually they ended up finding her where we told them they could find her. Her body was in a creek, and we pinpointed to the location on a map based on the information that we got. But before they could trust the information that we got, they didn't tell us anything. They didn't tell us if she was dead or alive. They didn't tell us anything about her age. They just gave us a picture. That was it. And said that she was missing. We gave them all this other information about her as a human being in her life that they could actually like get information and check it off their list to make sure we were accurate. And then they followed up on where the body was and stuff like that. So I would say only use a medium who could give you information that you can actually that you can check off and make sure it's true, right?
Right.
Most of the time when I see this happening, detectives use a medium. It's usually when they act, they're at their wits' end. They have
Right,
nothing.
they have nothing else.
So what do you have to lose? Just maybe this will put us on a path to a new idea.
Well, I'll tell you what you have to lose. What you have to lose is chasing down leads that might not mean anything. In fact,
But
if you
it's
ever
the
worked
same thing with people call in, right?
Yeah, it is. You have to check every single lead. In fact, the police department, especially the NYPD, is so knee-jerk with like the press. If the press talks to someone who's a moron, and the guy says, "Oh, I saw a green car with 3 Martians in it," then you got to interview that person.
Right.
So that is it creates a lot of work and can misdirect the investigation.
But if you're in the cold case squad and you catch this case and you interview there's still nothing after all these years.
Exactly.
What does it hurt to maybe talk to, if somebody comes to you and said, "Listen, I have a feeling about this." Now,
I just told you that in the history of homicide, there's never been a case that a medium has solved.
I'm not
So
sure
that's
if that's like a true statement.
And Vernon Gebeth, who wrote the book Practical Homicide Investigation, he says 100% don't ever go to a medium. He is the premier, source for homicide investigation. At least he used to be. He's a little old now, and I'm not trying to put down your profession, but I'm just saying it may not help homicide investigation to bring a medium in.
Well, I would imagine that a true medium, it would be actually extremely helpful because the person on the other side is giving you specific details. Like in the case that I was working on with the girl that I was telling you, she specifically told us what happened to her, where she was located, and they were able to find the body. So could we solve the crime? No, because the crime was already done. Her body was dead and buried, and she was a cold case. They had no idea of knowing anything about her. All they knew was that she'd been at a gas station, and they had camera footage of her at a gas station. That was the last thing that they had. And then from there, we could literally locate where she was. So I don't know if I agree necessarily with the saying that no medium has ever solved the case. Maybe an active case where the person's still alive, but I can tell you from being on a case that we've solved where bodies were.
That's an interesting thing for interviews too. I have a feeling it's all to do with energy. Just taking advantage of it, of what you're feeling. Like you said,
It is.
I think when you go to what you teach is letting people open up to what they're feeling
Mhm.
instead of blocking it away. But that being said, like sometimes as a parent, and any parent that's out there, you get these horrible thoughts in your head.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you're away
That's
from your
fear.
child, something might be happening.
Mhm.
If I tell you how many times I had a scary thought and like, do I go out and start hunting and searching right now?
Right.
Uh, no, I mean, thank God nothing happened. But so that's a weird thing. Like, how do we know what the difference is between just being a parent and having like just being overprotective and
Mhm.
having scary thoughts, or what we feel is real?
Well, and you learn to, well, at least for me, because I do it so much, you learn to differentiate between like the way that it feels, right? Because I have children, so I have fear, like my kid going outside playing, I'm worried he's going to get hit by a car in the middle of the street. That's just a normal fear of a mother, right? Like I'm not predicting that to happen, even though I see it going on in my mind because I'm a mom. But it feels differently than when it comes from the intuitive side of it. And the intuitive side of it, there's no fear. It doesn't come from a place of being scary or whatever. It just comes from a place of it is what it is. And so the information doesn't come across like in a negative way. It just comes across. So you know the difference because you're not attaching it to an emotion.
Do you know history of it? Because my grandmother, she's from Dominican Republic, and she used to have a lady over the house, and that lady who used to come to the house and read her, she
Mhm.
was very popular and had a lot of power in the neighborhood up there in Washington Heights. Do you know history? Like historically, like it's in every culture.
Mhm.
Somebody who has a feeling and
Right.
feelings,
But in the Hispanic culture, it's Santeria. There's a lot of
but it's still medium work. It's still
it
about.
is
Yeah.
medium, but they
We're
worship
talking about two different
Santeria.
things. I mean, you're talking about Santeria. She has the candle
Santeria is more
too.
like curses and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I
That's
that's
know.
not
You know,
different
medium.
too.
I
I'm
told you
talking
one time
about
this guy had all our names in a Santeria statue. He wanted us dead. All
like
the guys in the
Yeah.
2-3 squad.
And so let me explain. I also don't believe in curses. So I am not somebody who believes in a curse. I know that people get upset when they hear that. A lot of people say, "Oh, I know that their curses exist," and da da da. Do I believe that there was at one time where people could manipulate energy? Yes. Do I think that they do it now? No. So when people are telling you you have a curse, they're just milking you for money. So for everybody who's listening, if you ever go to somebody like me and they tell you have a curse, they're milking you for money. I can almost guarantee you do not have a curse. So the
I,
Santeria stuff is manipulating the energy and things like that, but I don't believe in curses.
yeah, but what Bill mentioned about the Santeria, that's not. I'm talking about like the guy.
Mm-hmm.
The Spanish guy, the very flamboyant guy. There's a documentary on Netflix right now about him. I don't remember his name, but I grew up with him on the TV all the time. All the Spanish people watch him all day. And
Mm-hmm.
he's nothing about Santeria. He's all about positive
Yeah,
energy, love,
exactly.
and spreading family and being loving. But he also has he does the daily numbers and the daily
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I forget what the guy's name was, man. It bothers me. If anybody remembers, you can put it up on the chat. But just stuff like that, like where a guy, people used to call him up on the phone. He had a phone number, and he could
Mm-hmm.
do the medium stuff on the phone number. He was very, very popular.
Yeah. And so, like you said, every culture has all over the world somebody who's similar to me because we all have the gift. It's just whether or not you trust the intuition. And the people who trust it, who work it and build it, like I was talking about a muscle, can do it better than most people. I can say that for anybody who sees a medium or a psychic, just like any other job, we're not 100% accurate either. The best mediums in the world are like 80% accurate. That's like the best of the best, right? So, like anybody who's doing a job, we get information. Sometimes we misinterpret it. Sometimes I'll get something I have no idea what they're talking about. And so I give it to you as I get it, but I didn't get it right.
That's interesting. That's
Michaela Jones says she's from New England. My mom's convinced she's cursed and passed it
No,
on to me.
no. No, you
Well,
guys might have bad luck,
let me
right?
tell you
There's bad
something.
luck.
I know a lot of families like that. They're just
Yeah.
cursed, man. There's no but.
I have a great friend who swears that her husband's cursed. Absolutely swears that her husband's cursed. And I tell her I don't believe in curses. And I might be wrong. Maybe there are curses. I don't know. I've just never encountered them, right? And so even though she's a really good friend, she won't listen to me when I say he's not cursed.
I worked with people in the police department and I told this guy one night, Alex, he asked me to drive him downtown. He had an arrest. was actually a homicide arrest. And I said to him the first thing, nothing better happened. I'll go with you, but nothing better happened, because every time the two of us got together, something better. There's just some people.
Something about your energy. Yeah.
It's also him. Like he goes out, there was cops that go on the street, they open the door to the bodega, and there's a gunpoint robbery. And there's other guys who walk in, doo-doo, 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 they go about their business. Nothing ever happens.
Mm-hmm. I believe it has to do with your vibration. And I know that that's like a weird word to use, but I don't play in anything in a negative way, right? So I don't play in lower realms, vibrations, like negative stuff. So I'm always in what I would call a high vibration. So I'm always in positivity. I'm always in love. And people who know me in life say you have like the most blessed life because things just come to me. But I keep myself in a very high vibration. There's some people, when you lower your energy, and you'll know them, they're like the bah humbug people that life is so hard, da 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 da. Mm-hmm. They're literally attracting that to them because they're leaving themselves in that vibration.
Bobby, keep that thought. We have to go to commercial, and we'll be back. And when we come back, someone named Jay Sa, he says, "May I please have a message from brother who passed?" We'll go to him after the break, okay?
Listen up, guys and gals. We are sponsored by the best hot sauce in the world, Silk City Hot Sauce. Silk City Hot Sauce is made in small batches using pure ingredients. Locally grown peppers are the foundation of every bottle of Silk City Hot Sauce. They were kind enough to send me a batch. I split it with Bill finally. He hasn't tried it yet, I don't think, but I have it every day. I have it on my avocado toast. I have it in tuna fish. There's so many different flavors from mild to wild. Please go check out silkcityhotsauce.com and put in the coupon code OTC for off the cuff, and you'll get a 15% discount.
Folks, are you getting tired of New York and the high taxes and all of the craziness going on in this city? Carol Waters is a realtor down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Carol Waters sells Myrtle Beach at gmail.com. She was formerly a bartender at the Fitzpatrick Hotel for 20 years, and her husband, Rob Mayen, who's a rollover from the NYPD to the FDNY, both are two of the top salespersons in real estate down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. They're awaiting your call. So give Carol Waters a call at 914-261-6681. You won't be sorry. It's a beautiful place, Myrtle Beach, and they're awaiting your call. Any of you guys getting in any trouble? We have a great attorney for you. Former member of the service, retired police officer Joseph Murray, and a huge supporter of Police Off the Cuff. I can't tell you how much he's helped us out. He now has a website, joe@jmurray-law.com. If you got any trouble, and maybe Barbie doll can tell you're about to get into some trouble, so give Joe Murray a call. He's a great attorney. I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but let me see. We had Ja. I got to find his. I had him on the screen.
It was Jay Saw.
Here it is.
I'm sorry? Yeah.
There you go.
Does Jay Saw? Is there a way for them to post a picture for me at all?
Jason, no, he would have had to have had it.
So I'm going to tell you who's here with me, and I don't know if it's associated with Jay just right now, but there's somebody who is giving me what I would call pain right here in the back of my head. So when I have pain right here in the back of my head, it usually means that there's like a trauma of somebody hitting their head right here. That would have caused usually their death or been like a precursor to their death. So maybe they hit their head and then they ended up dying from it later on. So can Jay just message us and let us know if that is his brother? Because that's who's here with me right now. If it doesn't belong to him, then this is just for somebody who is in the audience.
When you say they're here with you right now, I start thinking to myself, like every once in a while in New York City, like you'll pass somebody like every 50 feet that's talking to themselves. But I always wondered if you teamed them up, took this person over here and you gave them that person, would they talk to each other? But that maybe they're on a higher level than you are. Maybe they're actually talking to the people that are around them. Like you feel people around you. Maybe those people are just so enlightened that they're having complete conversations in another world. We don't know it.
We don't know, right? Maybe they're completely psycho too. We don't know, right? We don't know. And that's the thing, is you don't know. And that's why it's important for a medium like me to give like evidential information so that you actually know that it's true, right? So they could be talking to somebody, but unless they're talking to somebody and then they can tell you who that person is and give a very distinct message, we don't know if it's true or not.
Now, are you getting any? Jay Sa had requested that you please have a message from his brother who passed. Are you getting any messages from his brother?
The only spirit that I have right now with me that's trying to give a message is, like I said, somebody who they're being very, very distinct about the fact that they hit their head, and this would be my left side. They hit their head, and this caused their death in some way. And it's the left side behind the ear is where they hit their head.
He said that it was cancer, and sadly, but never
so then
heard
that
his
would
head.
not be it. Yeah. So then that would not be it. Yeah.
Okay.
This actually feels like an older lady. So I know it's not his brother because she feels like she's an older lady. And when I say an older lady, I would say late 70s, early 80s, because her skin looks thin to me. So, you know, like as you get older, your skin gets thinner, and her skin is an olive color, and it looks very thin to me. So
Marla Robinson just said, okay, guys, my mom passed away March 3rd. I was her caregiver. Anything would be appreciated.
Can you make her picture for me?
This is Marla. I'm on the screen, the bottom left there. I don't know if you could see it.
Yeah, I'm looking at her picture right there. Okay, so Marla, you see your skin tone? That is the same skin tone of the lady who's talking to me. So can you let me know if she is related to you? She would have thinning skin. She feels like she was in what I would call like convalescent stages. So she's like older, one of those people that like gets up, would fall over, that type of a thing. So can you let us know if that's her? Because I actually think, yep, exactly. That is your mom. So yes, Marla, that is your mom. Okay, so Mama. So Mama's showing me like jewelry that she was wearing or used to wear all of the time. I feel like there was like a bracelet and a necklace that was always on her all of the time. So that's just kind of facts that she's giving me so that we can confirm that it was her. But I'm relatively certain that that was her mom. Yeah. Let's see, what does Mom want to tell you? So Mom says like she never set anything unsaid. So she doesn't feel like she was the type of person who kept her mouth closed. She feels like somebody who always told you what she wanted to tell you, although it felt like it was more difficult for her towards the end to be able to talk to you. But basically, she's just saying to let you know that she appreciates the work, all of the work that it took to take care of her, because you basically had to stop your life in order to make her life comfortable. So she wants to give you that and as appreciation, and let you know that she wants you now to take the time that you have to live your life, because you put your life on hold for her. And so she's just sending you a thank you. She's sending you her love, and she wants you now to move on with your life. And that's your message.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, I hope that Marla, that was right on. It seems like it is on.
Does that bother you physically to do that?
Only when they make me feel ill sometimes, like if they did have cancer. So if I could have connected with Jay's brother, if he would have come through, and let's say he had like esophageal cancer and it'll make it so I can't breathe, or if somebody had a heart attack and I can't breathe in my chest, or somebody has something in their stomach, just they'll make me feel ill. And so that bothers me, but it's just because they're trying to get their message across. Who had stomach cancer? So there's somebody on the show that had stomach. I'm sorry. There's somebody who's here with me who had stomach cancer, who passed away from stomach cancer. So it was in their stomach area, and they're trying to come through to give a message. So if anybody in the chat has somebody who had stomach cancer, let us know. And then I'm sorry, Bill, what was your question?
Oh, I was going to say, how about even something like career advice? Would you give that? Okay, and how does that work though?
So to answer just real quick, somebody said, how do you find me on social media? Just go to my website, which is my name, barbidoll.com. But to answer that question, that's relatively easy, right? Because what they'll do is they'll ask me career advice. Like, what should I be doing? Am I in the right career? Should I quit my job? Whatever the case may be. And I'll just get sometimes I get like a feeling of what they need to be doing. So like if somebody's super like artsy or creative, then I'll get a feeling of being like artsy and creative. And maybe they're like in the industry that's not using their artistic abilities. So then we can talk about them doing something in their life. They don't have to change careers using their artistic abilities, whatever. So I'll just get a different vision depending on what they need to do.
You know, Sandra Rivera's on right now, and she said, I had stomach cancer and had a younger sister
who was
who
murdered. Okay, so very good. So Sandra, this is for you. So the stomach cancer, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but when they talk, I have to talk. So the stomach cancer is a very specific thing, right? Like that's not just something that people die of all the time. So then Sandra, that message would be for you, just to let you know that you had somebody here visiting you.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it's more of just sending like so this is what happens when we have all these people on chat. Now all of a sudden the spirits just want to get information into me as soon as possible. It's like a waiting room full of people just yapping at you, right? So I'm not going to be able to like give her a very specific message at this moment, except for the fact that to acknowledge that she has somebody here for her who's just here saying that they're with her because they mentioned the fact that she had stomach cancer. So that's just your message to know that somebody's here for you, talking to me to let you know that there's somebody on the other side that loves you.
Wow.
Because now I feel like I have literally a bombardment of information coming through.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. It must be like a whole, just like a switchboard of stuff coming your way, you know?
It is. And it's hard because like you're talking and I have to like literally cut you off because as soon as it comes in, it goes out, right? So it's like as soon as they tell me something, if I don't get it out, then somebody else is telling me something over here and somebody else is telling me something over here, which is why one-on-one readings are the best because then I don't have all these other people trying to get in.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I see that. I mean, I went to this guy one time and he asked for my birthday beforehand.
No.
And the time of day that I was born, and then he came up with this whole thing about me when I showed up. He had it all.
So he's doing astrology, right?
Yeah.
So that's different. Yeah. So astrology is different, right? So I would say to anybody who's going to see somebody like me, I don't do astrology. I love astrology, but I don't do it. You don't give any information, right? Nothing, because you don't want them to be able to look you up. So you don't give any information on anything like that. So I don't like knowing people's date of births, anything like that, because I don't want to know. Astrology is different. They're looking at your chart. They need to know that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I'm learning a lot. I don't. That's so fascinating about Sandra because she's a new fan too. She's been with us for a couple of months. I knew that information. Obviously, we haven't talked before tonight's show. She walks like 8 miles a day, and she listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
And I told her I never want you to get a car because she listens while she's walking. That's why.
So if everybody listens to the show and they don't take anything else away, I would like them to take this away. We're all given the same gift that I have. And like we were talking about earlier, Mark, you just have to learn to trust it, right? And not be afraid to trust it. So if you feel weird around somebody, I don't care if it's politically incorrect, move. There's a reason why you're getting that feeling, right? Worst case scenario, you offend somebody. Best case scenario, you save your life. People really just need to start trusting themselves.
You know, Barbi, I wanted to just touch upon this because you list this in some of the things that you can help people with. And there we are, the law of attraction. Could you speak upon this a little bit? Because go ahead.
It's like what we were talking about with the vibration, right? So you attract what you put out. So if you put out positive energy, positive thoughts, you attract positivity back to you. If you put out negative energy and negative thoughts, you attract negative back to you. And that's why you'll see people who are caught in these cycles where they just cannot get out of these negative spots because all they do is complain, right? Their whole life, they're complaining. It's like the universe goes, you want to complain? I'll give you something to complain about. No problem. There's more to complain about. So we have to teach ourselves to be more in a place of gratitude, and then you get more stuff to be grateful for.
Well, you know, one of the things that I've noticed a lot in policing, you see someone that is in a really abusive relationship, and then you see they get rid of the guy, and they hook up with a guy exactly like the guy that they just got rid of. So it's we talk about negative energy. There it is, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's also has to do with what people are comfortable in, right? So even though it's an unhealthy situation, they know how to deal with that situation. It's uncomfortable for them to be in a healthy situation because they don't know how to deal with a healthy situation, right? So that's more like psychology. We pick things that we're comfortable with, even if they're bad for us.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
We got
it's
a couple of people here saying some stuff. Well, before we go, I don't know how to go backwards on this. Artie Alfaro, hey guys, I'm a deputy here in Florida. I listen to your show every day on the way to and from work. Keep up the show, guys. Thank you. Shout out to Mark. I'm a Queens guy. Queens. And then we have another.
he means he's from the borough of Queens. He's not a queen, Mark.
What?
That was a joke.
I know, but you froze up.
Like I said he means he's from the borough of Queens. He's not a queen.
I know my computer froze up. I'm gonna have to jump back in. So keep going without me.
Okay. This is fascinating, and everyone in the live chat is they're really amazed by the things you're doing here. And in fact, Barbie doll, I'm going to refer you to at least one other podcast from this. A good friend of ours, Duty Ron, who's got even a much bigger audience than us, and I'm going to refer you to him because he's in the live chat and he's really enamored with what you're saying. And
I see his message.
you may go viral just from police off the cuff made you go viral. Just think of that, right? But
yeah, exactly.
No, this stuff is really, really fascinating. And Duty Ron just said I'd love to have her on. So I'll give him your information, and he'll contact you. And you'll be driving the Lamborghini in a few months.
You know what? I actually had a pink Corvette, being that my name is Barbie, at one point, and then I thought, like, wow, my ego got really big, so I went ahead and gave that pink Corvette away. Looks like we lost
Barbie, your link is www.barbiedoll.com, right?
Yeah, there's no www anymore.
Okay, just Barbie DAHL.com.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it has
that's her link right
me.
there. I just put it, it's barbiedoll.com, spelled BARBIDAHL. So this is really fascinating stuff. We have someone here, V-Way, I can't even say your last name, Ms. Dewana from South Africa. Thank you so much for coming here from so far away. Technology is amazing. Sheila writes, I'd love to hear more of her. Well, we just found out about her, so we brought her to you guys, and she'll come back on. Hopefully, I'm sure she feels a good spirit about Mark and I.
Yeah, a little sarcastic-y, but I love that about you.
Well, that's who we are. We're very. We're cops. Cops are sarcastic.
You have to be, don't you?
Exactly. You have to be that, and you have to have a fast, biting wit to survive.
And some thick skin.
Very thick skin, so but I mean, all this stuff is so fascinating.
Yeah. Well, and I try to make a lot of stuff available to people for free because that, honestly, this is my gift to what I believe is the world. So when people go on my website, you'll see there's all kinds of beautiful things for you on there. There's, things that talk about how you can improve your own gift, meditation, stuff like that. Anything that I can do to help offer to other people.
Sandy Lee wrote, something made me come in here tonight. So maybe something good is going to happen with you, Sandy Lee.
And Sandy, that means you trusted your intuition. So we're proud of you.
That's right. That's what we're trying to teach on this show. Get a teaching moment from the West Coast to the East Coast. Right?
Mark is back.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Every once in a while, I'm in the Bronx over here. Get a couple of gunshots and bullets flying through the hits the.
I hate to be the spirits around you.
I just want to shout out to some of the people in the chat. Princess Mitch, Shiva's girl from Charleston, South Carolina, that is. Marla Robertson, thank you so much for coming by. Always the Pranzos, Peter Pranzo, Michela Pranzo, two of our biggest fans. Boxing MMA, Sandy Lee, Michael Jones. Lost Josh Bale, 28th May, and his birthday is 14th June. Lost tragically, hoping for message. I'll put that up there. I don't. Michaela Jones lost Josh Ball, 28th of May, and his birthday is 14th of June. Lost tragically, hoping for message. I don't know if you can help him.
Well, if that's Josh's picture, which I feel like it is, according to what I'm being told, I'm very, very sorry. it does feel like, I'm going to say it the best way that I know how to say it, that his life ended the way that he was living it. So, for example, I'm trying to say this like the best way that I can say. If I'm somebody who is involved in hanging out with like what I would call the wrong crowd, then I'm more likely to end up in a situation than somebody who was not living that type of a lifestyle. So I hope that I said that the best way that I possibly can. That being said, he feels, so when they passed recently, they are learning to communicate with somebody like me, but he's actually very strong for having passed not 2 weeks ago or less than 2 weeks ago. He's already able to communicate, which means in life he was a strong spirit. So in life he was already like somebody who I would actually have called him a very intuitive person. It feels like he knew people. Once he met them, he knew exactly who they were, right? So he was somebody who you couldn't BS him. He knew who you were. He had you spot on right when he met you, and he trusted that about himself. So he wants to kind of acknowledge that about his life when he was alive, that he was very good about knowing who he could and couldn't trust. And also he wants to tell you that grieve in your own time is what he's saying. Like, it feels like people are trying to make you grieve a certain way, and he wants you to grieve in your own time and let you know that it's okay the way that you're grieving. It feels like what people are telling you, that you're grieving too much or too hard, or you're like, I don't know, but he's telling you to just grieve in your own time. Okay.
Wow, that was pretty damn good.
How does so when you give the one-on-ones, how do they do it? Are they doing it through Zoom? You're getting people
most of the time. Yeah, most of the time it's through Zoom. Sometimes it's in person if they're local to me, and sometimes it's over the phone. Some people are camera shy, but most of the time it's in Zoom.
And you ever wake up with a message that you have to give somebody? Like, how do you, if you have this feeling that somebody from beyond is trying to contact a loved one here and give them a message, and what do they send you, a phone number or email address to call?
You know, it's very interesting. What will actually happen is that I will get a message, and then it's almost always like somebody who's worked with me in the past will randomly send me an email and say, hey, you popped into my mind, because they're following their intuition. And I'll say, yeah, you have a message. And then their message is given to them. So they will get the intuitive message to reach out to me just because they're just told intuitively to reach out. And then I will give them their message.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah. Because we all have it. So if for some reason you have like, okay, it's like this. This is like one of my favorite examples. And this is, everybody has done this. Have you ever thought of somebody and then all of a sudden they text or called you? Literally like a second or two later?
Yeah.
That is your intuition.
You know what you remind me of? You remind me of, you're probably too young to remember this, but there used to be a sketch. Was it, who was that? It was a Carol Burnett sitting at the telephone thing and pulling out the bill.
I'm sorry, I'm sending someone a link to this.
When she's pulling out because back in the day when you had to make a phone call, you'd call and it'd be actually like a switchboard. Like they'd pull out a plug and pull this one in, and that's what you basically are to the other side. You're like this person sitting there, and you just relaying messages. So and so wants to talk to you. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
No, Duty Ron asked me to send him the link so he could join us, and I was doing a million different things at once. Sorry, I was trying to pay attention. I'm sorry I interrupted you, Bob.
No, I was trying to think of that. It wasn't Carol Burnett. Remember the lady? She used to have the phone. The thing with the joke. She had the headphones. She'd be in the phone company and like making jokes. She was an old time.
Lily Tomlin.
Yeah, Lily Tomlin.
Oh, I love Lily Tomlin. Yeah.
Shiva's girl gave us that.
She's basically like that's what you are to I guess the afterlife. You're like a phone operator.
Well, you know, like I love that. It sounds like so sentimental and kind of silly, but I absolutely love that I have this that I can give to people, because you'd be surprised how many people suffer because they think that somebody on the other side is mad at them for whatever the case may be, and that's not what's happening.
Yeah, I think that you're really doing people a service. People do suffer. And of course, in the grieving process, to even be able to think that someone, you could feel some kind of guilt. And if you can relieve those people of that guilt, you're doing a tremendous service.
Hey, since I have you, and we put you on the show, and you're probably going to make money from it, give me a free one for free. See if you can reach out to my dad, and if there's a message he's got for me.
Well, why don't we do this? Can we do it one-on-one, and I'll do it for you for free? That way I can give you a true reading.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I could do that.
You want to do it on air with everybody else there,
no,
right?
I think that would hurt me too much.
Why? Because here's the thing that he's telling me. So, by the way, yes, he can come forward very quickly. Is that he had like a nickname for you that was like blah 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 blah. Like I don't know, like he says it so fast for me that I can't hear it, but it has like your little accent thing going on to it. But
we just did a Duty Ron. Duty Ron is he's gonna put you on his show and make you famous.
Mark, real quick, Mark, reach out to me and I'll do it for free because he does want to talk to you.
All righty, thanks.
Yep, and he wants you to know before we go and before I talk.
That was amazing what
you're like his pal. Do you understand this? He's telling me like you're his pal, and that you'll always be his pal is how he says it. You'll always be my pal, and he uses the word pal. Okay, and he's giving me goosebumps. Okay, so just reach out to me. We'll take care of that. But he wants to talk to you.
Right. We will.
Hello, other person that I don't know who you are.
Well, this is Duty Ron. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
I can. Hi, Duty Ron.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. Wow, that was powerful what you just did for Mark. Barbie doll, thank you so much for what you do and the work that you do. And I have a very good friend who I've known for almost 40 years that is he does the same exact thing you do. His name is Glenn Dove, and he is here in New York. He's well known. And I brought many of my family members to him, but me personally, I've never been. I never went for a reading, never ever participated in that because I was always helping other people go and get, the closure. So you see, Mark is emotional. That was unbelievable what you did there. So I would love to have you come on my show, and I would do a dedicated live stream just for this. And I don't have a huge audience. It's like Bill was souping me up, but I do have a decent following, around 34,000 subscribers. So I would be honored to have you come on to my YouTube channel.
Bobby,
yeah, that was amazing.
I'm sorry, Bobby. We one of the things we do as fellow cops, and Duty Ron's a retired detective, Mark's a retired detective, I'm a retired sergeant, is we try to help each other out. And there's no one in the podcast business. Mark and I have been doing this for 2.5 years almost. That's helped us more than Duty Ron. And he's helped us, giving me advice. There's a lot of technical nonsense to this. And, I'm in the era where I didn't learn computers. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. You probably could predict it. You could probably tell me how old I am. But this doesn't come easy to me. And he's helped us out a great deal. And we've increased our audience a great deal through his help. So, yeah. And that's why we try to help each other out. And I sure think that referring you to Duty Ron is helping him out. So,
well, and Duty Ron, like I know just from being in your energy that your life is like dedicated to giving to others. Like I can tell that you're the type of person who would stop and make sure somebody else is comfortable or safe or whatever the case may be, and put yourself in danger before you would ever let somebody else be hurt. So I appreciate you coming and meeting you. I can tell you for your show, and for any show, like if we did this again with you guys, if you can get people to sign up and pick like 4 or 5 people and do where they can be like on the call, and we can do readings that way ahead of time, like pick them, like they could go into a drawing, that they can get a better solid message versus like everybody in chat. I would love to give you a message, but it would be easier if we could get like 4 people, put them on the screen, and then I can read them there.
Barbie, what I would do.
So your dad, real quick, I just got to tell Mark because his dad is pushing me to tell him. So Mark, your dad puts his arm around you and taps. So just so you understand, he does that quite often, and he says that you feel randomly like somebody's behind you and has an arm, and that's what he's doing.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to you so we could do it a one-on-one. Now that I opened this Pandora's box. I feel like I should. But thank you. Thanks for the little bit that you gave me so far. I got a headache now.
Very emotional. Very emotional. That was moving, actually, for me. I really. That's a great thing. But anyways, I don't want to take up. I know this is your show. I just wanted to come on. I wanted to just say hello to her. Again, I would poll my audience before we did a live, and I would select like 4 or 5 people or whatever the number would be comfortable, maybe 3 or 4, and I would have them pre-screen, like kind of pre-screened, and then I would have them join one by one, and then do it one-on-one with each one. I think that's would be the best for you.
I don't want to know anything about them, so I don't want to know anything about them.
You already have people volunteering from our audience on your show.
I love
you guys
it.
are a gift too, because I mean, like, again, I don't know why they just keep showing this for me, for you, Duty Ron. Like, there's just something about you that is being like, I guess the best word that I could say is like, so when I say spirit, it's more of like what you would call like universe, God, love, all that stuff is so they give me the feeling of being like breathtaking. So you give a lot, because there's no way I would get this feeling unless you were somebody who was like a true giver to the world, like a big giver to the world. So I'm supposed to tell you on behalf of that side, thank you for what you give to the world.
Thank you so much.
That's great.
Well, we're at the hour, Bill.
She's actually. Yeah, so I'm going to go. I'll leave so you guys can close. I don't want to be on. I don't want to take up the show. But thank you, Bill and Mark, for having me come on. And Barbi, I'll be in touch with you.
Thank you.
Very cool.
All right,
See you,
guys.
Duty Ron.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Barbi, you are everything and more that I expected as a guest, and that's why here on Police Off the Cuff, we want to take chances. We don't just want to have old-time police officers, which is great, telling their stories, telling their life stories, and doing real crime cases. We want to do all that, but bringing someone in like you, because this is an eclectic world. There's a lot going on, and you were fantastic. Is there anything that you want to plug? Your website? You have a book out? Anything like that?
I'm releasing a book relatively soon. It's called The Intuitive Self. I'll put that on my website when it comes out.
Okay.
So my website, just again, my name, barbidoll.com. I'm teaching classes on how to trust your intuition and how to build it. So if you go on my website, you'll see those things. And I just want to say thank you to you guys, because you've been amazing.
You were fantastic. Barbi, you were fantastic. I mean,
that was great.
I besides being the co-host of the show, I do all the booking, and it's really sometimes overwhelming because it's a big job. We've been doing anywhere from 2 to 4 shows a week between Mark and I do real crime, and sometimes I get inspired just to pop on the air when I get pissed off at something, And it's overwhelming trying to get guests. And I'm not trying to. You were fantastic, and I just hope that you don't get too big that you won't come back and come on our show again. Because
I'm always happy to be on your show. Are you kidding me? You guys are amazing.
We would love to have you back on, Mark.
It's funny, 50 minutes of show, and it finally dawned on me. Hey, why not ask about my dad? And that turned out to be like, wow.
Right.
It's like he actually told me, ask about me. Ask about me, stupid. And I did it. And then, okay, so we'll be in touch. I'm interested in hearing what you said, what you have to say. I'm scared, but.
Don't be scared. There's nothing that I can tell you that you don't already know.
All right.
Because you already know.
I hope so. All right.
All right, all Police Off the Cuff fans all over the damn world, South Africa, down south, California. This is Bill Cannon and Mark DeMeo from Police Off the Cuff, and signing off with one of our best guests, Barbi Doll. Thank you so much again. Good night, everyone.
Good night.